2 weeks have gone, and now the F1 circus is in Turkey. We discuss all the action ahead of the Turkish Grand Prix. Hello and welcome to the Pit Crew podcast. My name is Dylan, and joining me tonight is a man who talks more than Kimi Räikkönen, my co-host Ed.
Yes, now as Dylan said, we are in Turkey at Istanbul Park, a circuit which we haven't raced at since 2011. And before I continue, just like to say hello. I forgot to say hello. It's a bit rude. So hello to everyone and hello Dylan. How's your week been? We've been off air for 2 weeks. Feels like a while since we've been off air. It's Friday the 13th of we're recording this. So who's gonna die? It's unlucky. Who's going to die by the end of this recording?
I
don't know. Anyway, back to Turkey. We haven't raced here since 2011, as I said. It's an iconic track. Hosted some brilliant races back in the day. I wasn't really watching F1 then. Were you, Dylan?
Kind of. I was more watching like 2012.
Yeah, so both of us, it's kind of before my time, but I think we've both seen archive footage of it, and there's some great battles there. Button and Hamilton had one, I think 2010, 2011, and so did Webber and Vettel. They crashed and they actually took each other out of the race. So there have been some brilliant team battles here, haven't there, Dylan?
Yeah, there have been.
And one thing that's certainly noticeable about this track is turn 8. If you look on the screen, you can see turn 8. It's top right-hand corner, I think. Yeah, it's top right-hand corner. The blue section. It's kind of a quadruple apexed turn. It's really interesting. It's left-hander quadruple apex. It just goes completely round in 180. And the G-force you go through there, I think it's flat in an F1 car.
Yeah, in the modern day ones they are.
They are flat.
It's
But
like 5G.
Interestingly, this is record. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Our necks couldn't withstand that. We go in and we just like flop. We couldn't take it. Yeah, just snap. Now this is recorded on Friday night, so practice has been on all day, and it's been interesting. The lap times have not been what we expected. You'd expect them to smash the record, wouldn't you, Dylan?
Yeah, especially with these new cars, you expect them to completely go faster than the olden day cars.
Yeah, it was all. I think it's 124, the current record set by Pablo Montoya in 2005. I don't know what team he was racing for back then.
Might be BMW style.
I have a feeling it might have been McLaren or BMW.
I don't know.
I don't know. I certainly wasn't watching F1 back then. But yeah, the track was surfaced literally at the time of the Grand Prix at Imola. I can't remember the name of it. I've given up on pronouncing. Actually, no, I've remembered it. Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. I did that 2 weeks ago. I don't want to go back to that horrific name. But yeah, it was literally resurfaced 2 weeks ago, so the track's very slippy. There's not enough rubber in. They call it rubbered in when the track has tyres have laid down rubber, so it was very slippy for practice 1. It was literally like driving on ice, watching them coming out of corners, wasn't it, Dylan?
It was very slippery.
Yeah, it was pretty incredible to see them like slithering around, almost like someone had just turned off the traction control when they're playing the F1 game. They would go slithery slide at the edge of each corner. So lap times, they came down about, I think, 8 seconds or something from practice 1 to practice 2. So I expect that in qualifying we are definitely going to see some 124s, early 120s. I reckon it's going to be broken by at least some of the grid, don't you then?
Yeah, it'll definitely be broken by probably the top half of the teams.
I think it's not necessarily a higher top speed now, but we've got a lot more downforce than they used to have.
Yeah, way more than the olden times.
And I think the acceleration with the turbos is a lot better. I think with those turbos that it's just so much better acceleration, and the hybrid system as well. So it's a lot more instant power delivery coming out of a corner. I'm going on into nerdy F1 stuff. I think Dylan understands what I'm going on about.
I do.
Vaguely. I'll stop with that. Now it's time to do the news, as they said in old Top Gear. Not much has happened since were last on air 2 weeks ago. Obviously, heading into this, Lewis Hamilton can win the championship, and the only way for Valtteri Bottas to stop him is for him to score maximum points. I think get that 26, the race win, and that fastest lap. So, in my opinion, it's pretty much certain that Lewis has got it. I mean, if Valtteri doesn't win and get that fastest lap, he's got it. So, I'm pretty certain that in a couple of days' time, Dylan and I will be saying well done to Lewis Hamilton, aren't you, Dylan?
Yep, celebrating, equaling Schumacher's record.
Yep. I don't know if I'll be celebrating, but
We know you won't
can be
Ed.
celebrating. I won't be celebrating. If Lando won the championship, then I'd be celebrating. I'd be going absolutely mad.
A few years.
I don't think Lando will win the championship. Talking about championships and McLaren and Lando, that battle for P3, there's 2 points separate P3 to P5. So that Constructors' Championship battle, we've mentioned it before in earlier episodes of the Victory Podcast, but it's certainly going to be tight and down to the wire. We've only got 4 races left, including the one at Turkey, 2 in Bahrain, then 1 in Abu Dhabi to round out the season. But it's going to be tight. It's going to go down to the wire, isn't it, Dylan?
It's going to be very close. Who do you think is going to win the battle for third?
Not because I'm a fan, but probably because I'm a fan.
That makes no
McLaren.
sense. Okay.
Yeah,
I think
they've got the best consistency. Yeah, I could see it going either way, hence why it's so close. What I really hope is that in Abu Dhabi there's like a last lap overtake to decide it. That'd be brilliant.
Like last year.
Because it'll all be decided at the top of the field. I just want to see that being the focus of the final couple of races. That'll be brilliant. And another thing that's come out, you'll see the picture on screen, is a new calendar for 2021, the provisional calendar, 22 races. If the to be confirmed slot in late April, which was going to be the Vietnamese Grand Prix this year, but obviously due to certain reasons it was cancelled. It's to be confirmed because they found that nothing to do with the F1 race itself, but the guy who organised the F1 race in Vietnam has been accused and arrested on accusations of some sort of forgery for some Vietnamese government document. So that's to be confirmed, but looks pretty good calendar, pretty similar to the original 2021. What do you think of it, Dylan?
It's different, but I prefer this year's one.
Yeah, I
not the original
do.
one,
I think
the
a
new
lot
one.
of people
Yeah.
do. I'd like to see the to be confirmed slots to be replaced with one of those brilliant track Nürburgring, Imola, or Mugello. That they've all been fantastic. Or Turkey. I hope this is going to be a brilliant Grand Prix as well. Yeah, it looks very similar to the 2021, and I don't think it's as good as the actual 2021 that we actually got in the end. But it's now time to do our predictions, as we always do in these episodes. In qualifying, I think that Hamilton is going to get P1, of course, and he's going to have a perfect weekend and get that championship. Verstappen with P2 and Bottas with P3. Verstappen seems to have very good pace at the moment in practice 1 and 2, if I've cheated and had a look at that. What do you think, Dylan?
I think Hamilton, Verstappen, Leclerc. I mean, I put Leclerc there, so I did cheat and looked at the practice results, and he looks pretty strong. So I think he'll be able to get front of the second row.
Yep. Now, moving on to our race predictions. I, of course, predicted that Hamilton P1, that Bottas P2, and a P3 for Perez. I mean, we saw a brilliant podium battle last week. Fantasy, yeah. We definitely predicted we definitely saw a brilliant battle for P3 in the last race at Imola, and it was between Perez and Ricciardo. Perez got cheated of it due to a weird pit stop strategy by Racing Point. So I can definitely see them having that pace and being able to do that. Dylan, what do you think?
I think Hamilton, Bottas, Leclerc. I think Verstappen will just drop out of the top 3. Leclerc will keep his podium, first one of the season, and I think Bottas will get up to second.
I don't think it's Leclerc's first podium of the season, but it's definitely one of the first. I think he got one at Silverstone. I'm pretty sure he did. But anyway, yeah, it'll be interesting to see Leclerc up there. It's interesting you see Verstappen to drop out the top 3, but I've predicted that as well. Away from Perez and some interesting predictions, but I personally think that Verstappen is actually going to get that podium. My prediction is going to be wrong as usual. Now that about really actually no, that doesn't bring us to the
Still
end.
got a
We've got
lot
more
more.
stuff to predict.
Ed.
Got a lot more to predict. I'm too eager to end, and that's not it's not a
That's
good
not a
thing.
good thing.
Who do you think will get the fastest laps?
I'm gonna go with Ricardo just because he seems to be doing quite well with faster laps and one lap. Uh, what are they called? You know what I mean.
One
Quick
lap
one laps.
pace,
That's it.
flying.
That's it. That's it. I couldn't think
Flying
of the
laps.
words.
Call yourself an F1 and you don't even know what a flying lap is.
I forgot what the word
Yeah, I
was.
think it's just going to be my race. I think it's going to be my race engineer. My race winner, Lewis Hamilton, is probably going to get fastest lap. And
Bono could get
after
it.
a brilliant weekend, Bono could get it. Yeah, all Bono's were. None of Lewis Hamilton's were. They should reverse roles for one of the last races of the year. That'd be interesting to see. What do you think is going to be the biggest disappointment of the weekend, Dylan?
Probably the same as usual. Williams not getting a point.
We haven't even mentioned it yet. It has to
It
come
has
up.
to come up.
It has to come up, doesn't it? Yeah, I hope they do, but their pace didn't seem brilliant here. Nicholas Latifi fared well in those weird, ungrippy, not grippy conditions of the newly resurfaced track in FP1 though. He got P11, but that's probably not representative. Yeah, he probably won't get points for Williams and either of the drivers. Hopefully they do, but they probably won't, as I always say. Another big disappointment. Maybe the pace of one of those midfield teams. They seem to really drop out
Yeah.
of pace. They're like either really high up the points or not at all. Um, so it would just be interesting to see if any of them do. I hope they don't, but I think that could certainly be a disappointment. It'll be the biggest surprise of the weekend, Dylan.
I reckon maybe Alex getting the top 5 could be a good surprise, considering he hasn't done
Yeah,
very well in recent races.
I was actually going to say Alex Albon's performance, but I think performance of one of the top three actually could be not top three, those midfield top three. It could be quite interesting as well. So that's my hope for biggest surprise, and the Ferrari performance. Maybe Vettel getting another point scoring position. He's certainly not at his best this year. And finally, do you think there'll be a safety car, Dylan?
I'm gonna go for yes. I think there will be a safety car. I mean, I don't know if how common they are, but I think there will be.
So from looking at the footage from practice, the walls don't seem all too close, but not all too far. So it's just
Yeah.
in the middle. I'm going to go with yes because slippy surface from new resurfacing and track that some drivers have never raced at before. Recipe for disaster possibly. So yeah, I'm going to agree with you there and say there will be a safety car. But that brings us to the end of this Friday's episode of the Pit Crew podcast. We hope you enjoy watching all the action unfold at the Turkish Grand Prix. We will of course be back on Sunday evening to take you through all the action of the race. And for now, I've been Ed.
And I've been Dylan. Bye bye.
Bye bye.